Mark Rogers TV's college football predictions coming off 14-2 straight up last week, 9-7 against the spread, 1-1 in our confidence picks. Ohio State minus 13.5, a loss. West Virginia +1, a win at Oklahoma State. That was also, again, yes, those are the two confidence picks. Listen up for the one precious confidence pick in Week 10. Let's start it out with Notre Dame Navy. The Irish need to impress. They've got a tough game with USC coming up in Arizona State. They need to impress against the lesser competition, and they cover the 14.5 going to Maryland to take on the Midshipmen. Let's dive into the Big Ten with a couple ranked teams on the field. Nebraska +23.5, a favorite over Purdue. Huskers win it comfortably, but Purdue improving. They've won in the Big Ten this year. They've scared Michigan State. Purdue moving the ball on offense. We like the Boilers plus the 23.5. Huskers do win comfortably. Ditto at the Horseshoe. Buckeyes a much different team at home. They got scared at Happy Valley. They should win by 20 or 25 against Illinois, but it's 28.5 with JT Barrett hobbling on a bad knee. He could be out of the game in the third quarter. Buckeyes win comfortably. Illinois plus 28.5 as Illinois has played better as of late with the upset win against Minnesota. All right, to the all-important Big 12 and a ton of important games with TCU, Kansas State, and Baylor involved. The Bears get one more bye with Kansas this week before they've got to dive into a very rugged home stretch. Baylor and Kansas plus the 35. We take the Jayhawks because I know it could be 63-7. Got to take the 35 points. Stay away. Baylor wins the game. Kansas plus 35. All right, more competitive game here at Morgantown. West Virginia's impressed just about everybody, including Oklahoma State last week, winning 34-10. They're getting 4 points against TCU. It's going to be razor close. The seventh-ranked team in the playoff standings right now. TCU wins on the road in Morgantown, but take West Virginia plus the 4 points in the Big 12. Kansas State, yes, they impress how they win, not necessarily winning in big fashion. They're fundamentally sound. They're not overly athletic. I don't expect them to completely blow out Oklahoma State, even though the Cowboys are hobbling and imploding at this point. Oklahoma State plus the 13. Kansas State does win the football game in their quest to win the Big 12. Oklahoma, Iowa State, the Sooners looking from the outside in at the Big 12 race in the college football playoffs, hoping for just these teams to just cannibalize each other so that they can possibly win a Big 12 championship or tie for the Big 12 title. Minus 15.5 at Ames, Iowa. Cyclones a much better team at home, but take the Sooners to cover the 15.5 points there. All right, now we've got to get out to the Pac-12. Huge games here involving Arizona and UCLA. The Wildcats 12th in the playoff standings, taking on UCLA at the Rose Bowl. So road game for Arizona. This team could easily, with a made field goal at the end against USC, they would be undefeated. They won at Oregon. The Rose Bowl atmosphere will not intimidate. Wildcats pull off the upset at UCLA. So, of course, let's take the 6.5 points as well. Arizona in a confidence pick, plus 6.5 against UCLA. Elsewhere in the Pac-12, we've got another intriguing matchup with Arizona State in the driver's seat for a Pac-12 division championship as well. They will, of course, collide with the Wildcats, their arch rival in the last week of the season. Utah still alive. This game at Arizona State. Utah travels well. They won at UCLA as well. Utah plus the 6.5. Arizona State squeaks out a win at Tempe in the home confines. Utah, though, plus the 6.5 points against Arizona State. Don't see anything else in the Pac-12. Let's move it out. Oh, how could I miss this one? This one typically decides it in the Pac-12 North, or has for the last 4 or 5 years. It's Stanford. It's Oregon. The Cardinal has already lost 3 games. Oregon wants not only a Pac-12 championship, they want to get to the college football playoff. They have to be perfect from here on out. And Oregon wins. They win at home. They dropped that one to Stanford last year. The Cardinal has broken the Ducks' hearts several times, I believe 3 in the last 5 years. Oregon not only wins, they cover. Stanford having issues creating big plays on offense. Oregon minus 7.5 in a really good football game, but not quite as close or as competitive as it has been the last few years. Again, Oregon minus 7.5 against Stanford. Key game in the ACC as Duke tries to repeat a division championship, get back to the ACC championship game to take on the Seminoles. They are going to Pitt. I like Duke in this game. They've been a more complete football team, both sides of the football, more dynamic on offense. Yes, Pitt could really beat them up front, but I like Duke to make some plays in this game, especially with the 3 points. So take the Blue Devils plus the 3, and Duke wins it outright at Pitt. Let's now move it on to the SEC. Here we go. SEC games, but first let's go East Carolina and Temple. I thought about a confidence pick. If you do the score comparisons, East Carolina should defeat Temple by more than 7.5 points. Rainy and blustery forecast in Philadelphia on Saturday at noon. So we hold off on the confidence pick, but still take East Carolina, the 21st ranked team in the country, minus the 7.5 against Temple. Okay, now to the SEC. Big game with Georgia, Florida. Rivalry, one of the best in college football. The Gators not up to the task, but will cover 11.5 points. Georgia continues to march on toward an SEC Eastern Division crown, but again, take the Gators plus the 11.5 points. Then finally, well, we've got two more. Of course, the center of the college football universe. How could I forget? It's right there in Mississippi. Stark Vegas. Mississippi State hosting Arkansas. The Hogs looked good at the outset of the SEC season, playing close against Alabama and Texas A&M when we thought the Aggies were really special. Okay. I like Mississippi State to cover 10.5. This line started around 2 touchdowns at the beginning of the week. It's down to 10.5. Mississippi State's got a... No, they beat Kentucky, of course, last week. They beat Kentucky 2 weeks ago. That game was last week. Yes, Mississippi State minus 10.5. Bottom line against Arkansas. Just too sound. Arkansas still can't throw it against the likes of a top-rated defense like the Dogs. And I know Mississippi State gave up tons of yardage early in the season, but I like Mississippi State minus 10.5. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Auburn-Ole Miss, you just want the picks. This is the game of the week in Oxford, at least the matchup of the week. Whether it plays out, we shall see. I doubt that this game will disappoint. This one I have weighed back and forth. Are the Rebels beat up? Denzel Kimdichie is gone for the season. He's a key component on the defense and veteran leadership there for Ole Miss. The Rebels do have the best defense in college football. They have performed against some top offenses, and nobody has made them look bad. Auburn will, at times, enough to pull out the victory. Bo Wall is too inconsistent for me, and the Rebels are limited running the football. Auburn, yes, could get terrorized in the secondary by those Ole Miss wide receivers. Cody Core, Laquan Treadwell have that size advantage. So if it's good Bo showing up, yes, Ole Miss could definitely win this game at home, but I like Auburn to squeak out a win. They have to win on the road in Oxford. Auburn plus the 2, and they win it outright against the Ole Miss Rebels. So one more confidence pick. Let's again confirm. It's Arizona plus 6.5 at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. Now it's time for you to speak up. Let us know what you've got on Saturday for your college football predictions. Let's talk about it right here on Mark Rogers TV.